Hello and welcome to the TCF Morning Show. Today is Thursday, November 21st. We are through. We're on our last show of our second week. I can't believe we made it, boys. I can't believe we
made it.
We made it. We've actually sat down and did. This will be our 8th show now. I'm very proud of us.
Round of applause for us, boys.
Plus.
Discipline.
We have joining us tonight is Boomy. You can follow him on Twitter at BoomyTCF. We also got Matt Schoolfield. You can follow him on Twitter at schools_01. He runs the Moneyline podcast. Is it still at the Chalk?
No, it got changed up to. Nick changed it. Let me get back to you on that.
Hey,
I don't know. I can't remember what he changed.
We'll take a little break on that. If you want to follow the main page for this show, it's at typical_Chicago. We post this show on there every day. What is it?
It's at Moneyline Pod C. So like starting the podcast.
The podcast
just leaving off the AST.
Or if you want to go on to Apple or Spotify and follow. Is it follow on Spotify and then
yeah, it's follow.
Give us a 5-star rating. Subscribe on Apple. It will be out actually right now. It should be out about right now. I have it loaded up right now. In there, we had a special guest on. It was a fun time. We got our picks in. It'll be fun to listen back. A 5-man show. We had a 5-man show. But if you want to, I think I'll have
too many people.
It was a lot of people, but it wasn't too many. If you're gambling, everyone's got to throw out their 2 cents. But if you want to listen to the Typical Chicago Fan podcast, it's on Apple and Spotify too. That'll be coming out this week in the new podcast. Me and Boomy, we're doing a little Skyping, but I don't really think it's going to hurt the chemistry. Like I said, I don't think you'll see the difference between us being in the same room and us being on here because you pretty much can see each other. You can see each other, and we've done almost 100.
Almost. We will have to get back together. We can't do a Skype episode for episode 100.
We're not going to do Skype forever.
But give us feedback. Like, we want to know what you guys think. Make sure you give us some feedback
with
on
the
that.
winter and stuff where we're at, we want to stay off the roads a little bit once in a while. And it's just a nice way if we want to record a special, just a quick podcast. But, hey, shout out to our sponsors, The Muddy Otter. My mom was telling me it's the Wine Stopper.
I'm pretty sure I said that last night.
You did say that, but you wanted me to get that
correct.
Okay,
you just wanted to
clarify. They make handmade wooden. What is that? Oh, you got the stuff there. That's Boomy on the Muddy Otters Instagram. They also have a Facebook page. Go check them out on there. Like them on there. Like they said, they got also their Instagram. Hannah's always doing some behind the scenes stuff of how they make stuff. The one I liked the other day, she broke the thing. I don't know if it was something that they had been messing around with, just trying to create something different. But like I said, something that none of the 3 of us can do because I don't think we have the patience to do something like that or the strength at this point.
I think that's right.
I'm just kidding, Boomy.
Definitely don't have the creativity.
Boomy works out. I'm just kidding, bro. I didn't.
I would break something though. There's no way I could do what these guys do. Their stuff is incredible.
Hannah and Mitch, they make it in their garage, handmade with love. Go on to their website, themuddy.com. Like I said, go out on their Facebook or their Instagram. Check them out. Thank you for supporting the show, being our first sponsor, our favorite sponsor. We love you. But let's move on to the subjects tonight. We got Luol Deng. He's being honored. He retired as a Bull. So I think this is just kind of his retirement show, maybe it's his official retirement as a Chicago Bull. They brought out the big hitters tonight. We got Brad Miller, we had Joe Keem, we had Tyrus Thomas, we had John Lucas III, Ben Gordon. It was just it almost brought a tear. It did bring a tear to my eye what that team could be. Boys, thoughts on that team? Let's see right here. Oh, the Luol Deng jersey. Let's go.
The signed Luol Deng jersey,
Let me see
boys,
that.
hanging in my office right there. What you know.
Love it. The Luol Deng signed jersey. Shout out Luol Deng. I think Luol Deng was very, very good player. I don't know. You think he'll be in the Hall of Fame, boys?
The way the NBA Hall of Fame works, or NBA Hall of Fame is the Basketball Hall of Fame. Yeah, I think he probably does. He won't be there right away, but I do think you're going to eventually see Luol Deng get inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame.
This is going to sound like I'm ripping on him, and I'm not.
Come on, dude.
But I'm not ripping on him. Kidding. But I mean, I don't think Deng was anything more than like what a 3 would be on a great NBA team.
You can look at that. I can see where you're coming with from that. He never had crazy stats.
I mean, he's definitely not a 1, and I personally don't think he's a 2. So I think he's like the third best player on a really good team when he was at his peak. He was a really solid defender. Obviously, he was a really good defender.
I think his defense nowadays could make him that's the way I think it bumps him to the 2.
It could help him now more so than it did I think when he played, because obviously the scoring is so much higher now than it was even 5 years ago. But I don't know. I think he was never really a great shooter outside, and I don't think in today's game that plays real well when you're a wing. When you're a wing out player like he is. So I think he had some limitations offensively that would affect his game now. But
to the contrary, though, Matt, other than his last 3 seasons in the NBA, which were fairly injury-plagued and coming off the bench.
He's coming back with a cannon here.
And just wait, I'm ready. I've got one here because other than those last 3 years where he was nothing but a role player and a lot of injury-plagued, he averaged over 10 points a game. For his career, he still averaged 15. He played 14, I think. But he also, like I said, he averaged 15 for his career, and also at the same breath, Basketball Hall of Fame, if Bill Bradley and some of these other Dave Bing and Gail Goodrich and Frank Ramsey can get into the Basketball Hall of Fame, then I think Luol Deng deserves at least a look. I mean, like you said, the defensive numbers and averaging, he had a year where he averaged 19. He had a year where he averaged 17. For a 14, 15-year NBA career to average 15 points a game on some good playoff teams. I think, like I said, it's not going to be one. He's not going to be a motion into the Hall of Fame in his younger years. He's going to be one of those guys that, like, when we're, in our 40s or 50s, we're going to be like, oh, Luol Deng got inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. So,
yeah. I think, but it's crazy that 8-2 could be in the Hall of Fame. Usually you would think a 1 on a team, but nowadays in the NBA, or just, he said it's not the NBA Hall of Fame, it's basketball, college, and all that. So,
I mean, if you look at some of like the recent, really, the big teams with the big 3, the Warriors recently, obviously the Heat before them. Luol Deng wasn't Chris Bosh. I mean, Chris Bosh does not get anywhere near the credit he deserves, in my opinion, for how great he actually was. He was a ridiculously good player.
Especially before he got to the Heat. I mean, with Toronto, he was
outstanding. And then you look at the Warriors. You're either taking Draymond Green or Klay Thompson as your 3. Most likely Klay once Durant got there, because he'd be bumped up to the 2 when Durant wasn't there. But how
about the Warriors?
I think it's safe to say, like, I would take Draymond or Klay both over Luol Deng too. I mean, and again, I don't sound like I'm ripping on him, but I don't think you can put him up as a number 2. And I think that's where you start cutting off guys from the Hall of Fame. I think the 1s are definitely in. The 2s are very likely in. And the guys who you think are number 3s, you have to be one of the really elite 3s, like your Draymonds, your Clays, your Chris Bosh, to really start getting the Hall of Fame talk, in my opinion. Do I think he's a Hall of Famer? I forgot who it was, and I think it's kind of become a cliche where people say the benchmark for Hall of Fame should be, can you tell the story of that sport without mentioning that player? If you can't, then he should be in the Hall of Fame. And I don't necessarily agree with that cliche. I think it's overplayed a little bit.
I think there's plenty of players probably in the Hall of Fame that you could write history without.
Right, and I think if you put Luol Deng in, I think he fits that mold.
Yeah,
I think I don't think he's like, he doesn't stand out to me as somebody that changed the game, or he's a really solid player.
Did he ever win a championship?
Very solid player.
the Hall of the Very Good. I'm starting to agree with you, Matt. I think that might be the better case for it. But I just feel like the NBA or the Basketball Hall of Fame is just so, I don't know, it's just so wishy-washy sometimes, you know?
Yeah, no, if that team would have won a title, things may have changed.
Or gotten to a finals at least.
Yeah, but they never really even threatened LeBron, let alone.
Right. Yeah, they had that lead. Remember after Derrick Rose hit the game winner, they had the lead there in that series.
And that was as close as we ever got.
Gosh, that was riding high off of that win. I thought, here we go. And then LeBron comes back the next night, hits a corner three to freaking win it. That was so stupid.
Dagger.
And a really good guy, too. Let's not forget about that. It sounds like he does a lot of charitable stuff and things like that. That shouldn't go unnoticed either for that guy like that.
Luol Deng.
He does a lot of
charity work. Okay, we hear that enough.
No, this is not. No. We'll get him off this podcast real quick. I don't want to talk about that guy.
No. But let's move on.
I will fight both of you right now.
Detroit in Chicago. Chicago gets the win tonight. I think they won by 20? They won by 20.
Yeah, they covered easily.
Will Perdue did a interview with Derrick Rose, and he talked about load management and how he thinks if load management was a thing back when he was in his MVP days with the Bulls, that he would still be playing for the Chicago Bulls, and they'd be on I wouldn't say a run right now, but he would still be a Chicago Bull playing at a pretty, I would say, elite level. What do you guys think about it? I'm not saying that what he said he would still be playing at the elite level. Who knows what happened over time? But I still think they talked about it on Waddle and Sylvie today. How Waddle was Sylvie, I think, was at a game in Milwaukee, and Derrick Rose had some back spasms, and had been kind of sitting out the game. Bulls were up. The game was done. The Bulls were up 20 or something, 25, and Thibodeau puts Derrick Rose back in the game. He had said stuff about how his back spasms. I'm not saying that if he went on he would. Like he said, he still wouldn't do the whole as much as Kawhi is doing right now. But I think if they put more time into thinking about the long-term career of Derrick Rose, then he would be in a better spot. I feel like somebody kind of. I think it's just Thibodeau's game, how he coached. But I think that you really can look back at it and say that he should have maybe taken it a little bit more easy.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with it, but like this is just all retrospect, looking back. That was not the thing at the time. Like load management is, is something new. Though.
I understand that, but
I completely get it. I get it, but like you have to also look at the time period that we're talking about, and that just wasn't something that was done. I don't disagree at all, but this is just very retrospective. Looking back at history,
but not even looking back at the load management thing. Thibodeau played people more than average teams at that time. I mean, it wasn't like he. Yeah. I mean, I still think, not even load management. I still think Thibodeau should have looked at the long-term career of Derrick Rose more. I think that they looked at the here and now.
I want to throw this out. I want to throw this out there real quick, though, with Rose. The thing about Rose, and I think in some of these cases, you're absolutely right, but you also have to look at the type of injuries that the guys are getting to. I think if you're getting your sprains and strains and aches and things like that, where it's wear and tear type injuries like that, that is a load management thing. When you're going up to drive down the lane to go for a dunk, and you blow out your knee, or when you're out on the perimeter playing defense and you tear your MCL and meniscus like he did.
Yeah,
those are different injuries. Those are ones that happen because your knee's not structurally sound. Or something devastating happens, or some kind of movement happens. That devastating movement could happen in the preseason just as likely as it can in the playoffs, like it did with Rose.
Right. It's such a catastrophic injury.
I'll go back to
it's one of those things that it's not like your knee's like fraying and all of a sudden your ACL just finally gives out.
No, but
it just gives out.
I mean, not playing all those minutes probably would also help too. But I mean, it's also Joakim too. I mean, Joakim. I mean, he played almost
the plantar fasciitis.
He played through
the plantar fasciitis does fall into that category because that's a repetitive motion. That does fall into that category, Matt. I agree. Those are two different.
It's also one of those things that you need rest to get recovery on.
I mean, an ACL blowout, multiple ACL blowouts, and plantar fasciitis are different stories.
I'm just saying it's like a spontaneous injury. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just the way they play. He played both of them. They played into times when they probably shouldn't have. It was like they didn't know when they should end the game.
Where you're absolutely right is with Deng. Deng was ridden into the ground.
But
by
who
Tibbs.
is the coach of all three guys that we're talking about here?
Right.
Well, and Jimmy Butler, you can make the argument too that Tibbs did it to him too.
Yeah.
It seemed like he thought he was running a college program for you get these guys for 3 to 4 years.
Right.
Yeah, it's
tough.
I
think it's something that definitely was an issue with Tibbs. I don't think that's what contributed to Rose's injuries. That's all I'm saying.
No, but he did have little tiny injuries like a little bit before it too, with the ankle and some of the toe stuff and all that. So I honestly think what Kawhi's doing is a little extreme. Also, I think that I'm not saying it's going to help him with the overall, but I still think that sitting like 2 to 3 games with rest and stuff like that is a little wild. That why is he one of the only guys doing it?
Right. I think there's got to be a happy middle ground somewhere in between, what Tom Thibodeau was doing with those guys and what the way that the load management quote is thrown around in the NBA. There's got to be some sort of happy middle ground.
Because you know me, I'm never one to give LeBron James a compliment, but that guy has played more minutes than anybody else that is in this league right now.
Yeah.
Maybe not Vince Carter, but you know what I mean. Like overall, the playoff runs, he went to 7 straight finals or something like that. I mean, all the minutes that he played, and he is in his 16th year, and he's still playing almost every game. I mean, when has he sat out one this year? I mean. He might not play back-to-backs, but still. I mean, he is not doing the Kawhi Leonard, and he has way more minutes than Kawhi Leonard.
Right. No, man, it's.
I think some people are thinking a little too extreme.
Something that needs to be. I agree. I think you're seeing some of the injuries maybe cause that extremism, and I think it's just got to come back to a middle ground. We got
that on that a little too much there, but Orlando has pitched a Major League Baseball team. Boys, have you seen the logo for this? It's like Orlando Dreamers? Is it Orlando Dreamers? Yes. It almost looks like the Field of Dreams logo.
Dude, it doesn't even look like that. It looks like if you go to like clip art on Microsoft Word and type in baseball, that's the logo that would come up.
It's just awful. It's not good. Like it's one of the worst logos. I think this guy, he brought the Magic to Orlando or something like that, but I mean you got to get a better logo than that. We came up with a better logo for this show.
Shout out
guy Joe Store,
designer Joe.
Our guy Joe Store. Check him out on Facebook and message him if you need a logo. That took him about 2 hours, an hour to make. And it's way better than that logo. I mean, that is unbelievable. What do you think?
It's so bad.
That has like that. It's just boring.
Hey, so earlier
I also want to throw out who the heck. I'm sorry about the language. I don't want to call myself there. Who the heck won to a game in Central Florida in July?
I mean, you already have enough.
No one goes to the games that they have. No one goes to the games in Miami. No one goes to the games in Tampa.
If that stadium is an outdoor, open-air stadium in Central Florida, it is going to be miserable for the months of May through September.
Did Troy go to opening day?
It is going to be extremely hot and humid.
Detroit.
Yeah, Troy. My buddy Troy went to opening day in Tampa for $14, and that's a dome stadium. No one goes to the games that they have retractable roofs or a dome stadium. What makes anybody think that they're going to go? That if you look at the attendance
needs another team.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. What statistical analysis can this guy possibly come up with that's like, you know what the state of Florida needs? Another baseball team, another professional sports team. No one goes to the games as they are.
We talked on last night's show how they're eliminating like 42 minor league teams. Why are we adding a major league team?
Yeah, it's stupid.
I think we got enough.
This guy's an idiot.
I think, like I said, if they're going to get another baseball team, it's not going to be another team in the state of Florida. That is for sure.
No. I do. I got to give a shout out to our buddy Tyler Keller, who comments into the live show every once in a while. There was like a thing that said, if there's going to be a professional team in the state of Florida, what should it be called? And he just retweeted it and said the Montreal Expos. So I love that one. That was a good.
That's pretty
good rebuttal.
Got him. We're going to do the Wayback Machine. Matt, I'm going to let you explain this because this is your idea.
Well, it's just something I thought about that, we're all sports fans, but it seems like we all like to reminisce about teams we liked, hated, we're passionate about, we're not passionate about, stuff that we, bring back decent memories of years past. So I figured one way to do that was talk about teams that, stick out to us we've been like lifelong sports fans. So I think we each got teams like that fit that description. So I think any listeners too, if there's teams you were all about or hated with a passion, because that's just as fun to talk about too. Shoot them over to us. Definitely chew those up and see what we can come up with as well. But I just think always makes for a decent conversation every now and then.
Yeah, DM us or whatever on Facebook or on Twitter or whatever, or Instagram, because I think Wednesdays will be the everyday Madden ratings, and Thursdays will be the Wayback Machine days for us. That will be our segments that we'll be doing here. So if you have either one, everyday Madden rating or a Wayback Machine suggestion for us, let us know, and we will throw it here on the show, and we'll even shout you out too. And like you said, we've been over this before. If you want to get on the show, you have a Skype and you have a sports or non-sports take really, and you want to be on the mic or be on the camera, let us know, because that's the main thing about this show. You have to see our ugly faces. So maybe we need to get some more maybe better looking people. Like we should get Brad Pitt on the show.
Is there a filter we could throw on for us or something?
There's Snapchat filters. We got to be able to figure stuff out.
A little bit.
Leonardo DiCaprio. We could try getting him on the show.
Boys, can I give you one for the Wayback Wednesday?
We're not gonna get Leonardo. You just kind of glossed right over that one, Boomy.
Sorry, my
You
attention deficit disorder. All right, I apologize. We've talked about it doing these late shows, how my brain doesn't work. But I've got one for our Wayback Machine, and that is the 2001 Philadelphia 76ers. For me, this team, Allen Iverson. I remember Michael Jordan. I remember where I was when Michael's final shot as a Bull happened, but I was also 7 years old. So, my kind of formative years, I was a diehard Allen Iverson fan. And that team, it was him. It was Eric Snow, Dikembe Mutombo. That was that team that got to the Lakers and then eventually got taken care of pretty handily. But that was the team. The first thing that came to my mind was the answer in 2001, just balling.
I love it. And like I said, I really was. How old would I have been?
You would have been
that was my senior year of high school.
So I was too young for
that.
That
was in my wheelhouse.
I wish I could have seen Allen Iverson now.
Allen Iverson had 48 points in the only game that the 76ers won in that series, and they only won the game by 6, and he had 48.
Yeah, he was a stud.
He was a dog. I love the tattoos, the braids, the wristbands, the headbands. That was my guy, man. I own 2 or 3 Allen Iverson jerseys.
One thing about that team too, though, is Mutombo was really good defensively still at that point in his career. He was still dominant inside.
We look at an Allen Iverson is he had that awesome attitude where he could get into it with other guys or do whatever.
Yeah.
But he could
was
back
a dog.
it up.
He was a dog.
To see him dunk it's just magical.
It is. But what you're saying about that team, Matt? I missed that.
No, I was just saying Mutombo defensively was so good.
Well,
they had some really good players. Aaron McKee was on that team. I want to say, didn't they have Theo Ratliff too? I think with Mutombo.
Yes, Theo Ratliff played the 4. Dikembe played the 5.
Yeah, that team, they ran into a buzzsaw obviously with the Lakers. But
yeah, and wasn't Dikembe Mutombo in his late 30s at that point?
I don't know, but I know he was. I'm pretty sure he won. I think he won at least one Defensive Player of the Year with the Sixers. So it might have been that season or the year after. So
Yeah,
I don't know. He came in at 92. I think he was a first. I think he was a 92. He was picked out of Georgetown with the Nuggets.
Yeah, so let's see. He's 53 right now. In 2001, that was 18 years ago. That would make it 35.
Yeah. So that's definitely the twilight of his career. Larry Brown was their coach too. Another good coach.
Yeah,
good NBA career. Bounced around a bunch of places between there and college, but always a little greasy too. You gotta like guys like that.
Yeah, I love me some Larry Brown.
They'll do whatever it takes.
You gotta like him. You like him a little grimy sometimes.
Matt, you want to go on to your team?
Rick Pitino.
The one I was going to throw out was the 1993, and I know this doesn't have to. Let's not limit ourselves to NBA here, but I think for some reason all three of us were when we started talking about this, like we fixated on an NBA team. The one I was going to talk about was the '93 Charlotte Hornets. That team was one that I was obviously a big Bulls fan growing up. That was being my age at that point. I was like 93. I was 10, so I was like really big into sports at that point in my life, but. Huge Bulls fan, but also the Charlotte Hornets were a team that I really liked at that point.
Kendall Gill.
So they had Kendall Gill out of Illinois, but then the studs on that team was Mourning and Larry Johnson. Yes. That guy was a beast. There was any
Muggsy Bogues, right?
Muggsy Bogues was running the point. They had Del Curry. They had Johnny Newman was a long-time NBA veteran. I think Tony Bennett was on that
my
team
guy
too.
Tony Bennett.
I'm pretty sure he was still on that team. J.R. Reed, Carolina guy, but
I forgot about J.R. Reed.
Larry Johnson, dude, that guy was a monster early on in his career. Injuries kind of caught up to him a little bit earlier than he hoped, but he was a freak, and he was probably the biggest comp that I've seen personally to Zion, at least early on in his career. Very similar frame, like just big, strong, thick body, just dominant inside. Had a little bit of an outside game at times too, and him and Zoe were really good together. Lonzo Mourning was outstanding defensively his whole career, but he was a stud offensively too, especially early on. They were another team that obviously just ran into the Bulls at the wrong time, and they ended up, Mourning got shipped off to the Heat a few years later and kind of broke up that team a little bit. But that team was fun in that early 92, 93 stretch they had.
I like that one a lot. What about you, Zach? What do you got?
A little vague in a way. It's the Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Miami Heat. With the Luol Deng coming back tonight, they had all the guys there. A bunch of guys that were playing on that team.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6,
and
not 7.
I hated that team. They ruined everything. We were making playoff runs. Those teams were dominant. And don't forget.
Well, and then you also got to throw in like Ray Allen, Mike Miller. I mean, Udonis Haslem, the guys that ended up, like Mike Miller was one of my all-time favorite guys too. And then, Ray Allen and, just all of the pieces that were on those teams. Like you saw so many really, really good obviously some Hall of Fame players, but also some Hall of the Very Good players, getting back to our earlier point. Like those teams were stacked, man. They were fun to watch.
Yeah, I hated them, though.
It was awesome when they lost to Dallas.
That was the best series.
That year. That was so good. Dude.
I agree. That was like
so
the most
good.
I've never cheered for any team from the state of Texas as hard as I did that year.
Jason Terry was outstanding that series too.
Dirk deserved it.
He was so good. Dirk definitely
he was
deserved
sick
it.
of there making fun of him.
Nah, no question. That guy was awesome, dude. I love Dirk.
They did the fake coffin. LeBron hated the fake coffin when they were saying that he was kind of fake being sick.
It's still that whole rally that team did, the not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. That whole thing just
clown stuff.
Still
you
burns
want to see
me
a nation come
day.
together, other than people who are Miami Heat fans or still love LeBron. It was a lot of people that wanted to see the Miami Heat lose that.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild.
I think it all started too the way LeBron left Cleveland. He goes on
TV. Just the way
he goes on TV to throw up the double birds.
I remember I was at Buffalo Wild Wings in Wisconsin, and I had convinced myself that he was coming to the Bulls. I don't know why, but I had convinced myself.
I don't know why you would do that to yourself.
To the Bulls. I was pretty young. I love
because
LeBron.
you couldn't remember who was running the Bulls.
Unbelievable.
It's because him and Wade. I'm still convinced to this day used the Bulls.
They have said multiple times that they were close to coming to Chicago.
I just wish
I think they used the Bulls for leverage. I think that's all it was a power play. They had no intention of going here and being part of the Garpax run Bulls. I don't think that was ever an option.
I don't even want to hear that there was even an option there because it just makes me sick to my stomach. It makes me sick to my stomach. Boomy, let's end this week with another Boomy's wacky web story. You were pretty excited about this one.
I am. I like this one a lot, and this is going to sound a little demented, but I think the world might need this. But guys, the bubonic plague is back. Something we thought, something we thought that was over hundreds of years ago as the bubonic plague wiped out its population. It's back, and it's coming out of Hong Kong, China. In northern Inner Mongolia province, a hunter was diagnosed with the bubonic plague on Saturday after he ate wild rabbit meat.
Well, there you go. You go. If you're going to eat wild rabbit meat and you're in an area that could possibly even happen, probably shouldn't eat that rabbit. I'm guessing the rabbit with the bubonic plague doesn't look like a normal rabbit. I'm just going to throw things out there.
And the most likely story is that he didn't cook this rabbit correctly.
Or at all.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Like, he just ate it. Like, imagine that you see this guy.
Like, this guy roadkill, just, like, walking down the street, he just grabbed it. And,
this rabbit with, like, foam coming out of the rabbit's mouth because it's so sick, and this guy's just eating it. That's just.
Now, you would maybe think that, like, this is the first time the plague has been, back because we don't see it very often. Well, actually, back in May, a Mongolian couple from very similar parts of China died from the plague after eating the raw kidney of a marmot. It's supposed to be like a health remedy, but they just ate a raw kidney of a rodent and they got the plague and died.
Both of these stories sound.
The plague is hashtag
selection. If you're gonna eat raw rodent meat, it's the kind of survival of the fittest, isn't it? I mean, like, you lose.
I hate being this way.
And people bitch about millennials.
Yeah, no kidding. There's no way these Inner Mongolians were millennials. These people were in their at least 60s or 70s.
I mean, imagine thinking like I should just eat this raw kidney of an animal. That I said, if you're going to get the bubonic plague from this thing, it can't look normal. It can't look normal. There's no chance.
This blows my mind, though, fellas. In the article, it says at least 1,000 people a year catch the plague, according to the World Health Organization. Boy, I don't know if that number sounds accurate.
That number has to be false.
If it didn't grow out of the ground or grow on a tree, don't eat it raw. Let's just start there.
Yeah,
let's start in life with that.
Or maybe
we should print shirts that say that.
Pretty basic rule of life here.
I want to go through every single one of these cases and see like if it was like avoidable. Because I feel like 3/4.
It sounds like it sounds like it was avoidable.
1,000 cases, 1,000 possible ways they could have prevented.
How could I not get the bubonic plague? Oh, don't eat the raw kidney. Oh, don't eat the rodent.
Is malaria due for a comeback here soon too?
Malaria hasn't gone away. Malaria is playing no games in it
too. But
at least with that, like, it's a mosquito. Like, they're attacking you. Like,
you don't get malaria from eating raw rodents.
How about polio? That's another long since
that's true.
Supposedly vanished illness, but that seems to be like randomly popping up.
Didn't somebody in Illinois?
Like this too.
Yeah, we could talk about vaccinations and all that for a long time, but yeah, there's a possibility that comes back. But Zach, if you want to do your research on these cases, the most endemic countries of the plague are the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Madagascar, and the country of Peru. So book a flight, bub. Start studying.
Yeah.
Not Peru, Illinois. Just
not Peru, Illinois. Let's make sure we put that up.
That was like Lima, Peru, not
one.
LaSalle, Peru.
South America, Peru.
There would be a lot of you. Maybe that's another segment.
I wouldn't be going to work.
Fellas,
I work down in LaSalle,
I think
Peru.
maybe that could be a segment. I need a name for it, but we could be like throw out like the the craziest named states, like you think could be something else or like from somewhere else? No. Yes?
I'm confused.
I'm really confused.
A city. Did I say state?
Yeah.
Okay,
you said
a city in the state, or like any town, the name that like could be.
I gotcha.
Like, isn't there like a Rome somewhere in the United States?
There's a Mexico, Missouri.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I explained it very wrong.
Atlanta, Illinois.
Is there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Nashville too.
Yep.
See, that's why we need this. Just don't give away the rest of the thing.
There's a Cuba, Illinois too.
Enough spoilers. That's a little tease for next week of our segment to be named
Illinois geography for 100, Alex.
Yeah, exactly. We'd nail that category.
A segment to be named later. So that's that. Don't take it. Please don't take it.
Trademark.
Yeah, let's get a copyright attorney.
I don't think anyone's jumping on the old. We could just look on a map and just name off a bunch of states. I did again. Cities.
What is Freeport?
When you guys looked at me, I'm like, dude, what are you guys doing? It's pretty cut and dry what I just said.
I was so good.
I was pretty like, I knew what I wanted to say. Didn't say it right. My brain didn't catch up with my mouth. What's new?
That's all right. It happens. It's late.
But thank you to our sponsor, The Muddy Otter. Go to their website, themuddy.otter.com. Check out their pottery, their handmade wooden. I mean, Mitch, I've seen some videos of the way they do it. It's beautiful how they do it, the process of how they do it. They do it out of they make the stuff out of their garage. Hannah and Mitch Prentice, they are from the Lake of the Ozarks. If you want to check them out, it's themuddy.otter.com. You go to their Facebook page, The Muddy Otter, and their Instagram page is also The Muddy Otter. They got all the stuff that they're doing on there. Some of the new products they got out. Always go up to their website. They're always putting stuff on there that they make. So always check that out and update that every day. So if you want something and maybe it pops up, then or you can also get in contact with them on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and they will try and make something work for you because, like I said, they could get some personal stuff for you. Like I said, Mitch is always he's a great talker. Beautiful people. We love them.
Follow on Twitter too.
What? As Boomy's chugging water.
Great follow on Twitter too.
Great follow on Twitter. Yeah, he keeps it real with Chicago sports.
Yes, he does.
He does. It's the Bears. Speaking of the Bears, I'm wearing their jacket, but they play Sunday. Hopefully we're having a happy Sunday show. Unlike last week, last Sunday was bad. It was depressing, made me mad. But thanks for boys. We got through week 2. We are 8 shows in. Thank you for joining me tonight. Boomy at Boomy TCF. Matt Schoolfield at schools_01. Follow the main page at typical_Chicago. Facebook is Typical Chicago Fans. Instagram, Typical Chicago Fans. We will be back on Monday morning with some NFL, college, just whatever happens between now and then. We love you all.
Peace.
See you.